If you had $300,000 available to you Monday morning, would you place a bet, all of it, on Tesla? Would you do that? In this video, I'm going to address that scenario, and I'm going to explain to you why that scenario came up. Friday night at 5:20, my phone rang. It was a call from Frank. I had never heard from Frank before, but Frank explained that he was a member of my tribe, and he had a question for me. And would I take a few minutes to answer his question? I always do. I always answer my phone, and I always speak to the members of my tribe. My tribe is Best of Us Investors. We're a group of right now about 50,000 people who have come together as one to become better investors. And we share our ideas in our village. Our village is a Discord. If you want to be invited to the village and share in our knowledge, go to bestofusinvestors.com and join us. So let's get back to Frank. Frank's 50 years old. He's married. He has 2 children. He has 1 grandchild. He owns his home free and clear, and that's the important part of it. Last week, Frank went to his bank. He asked the bank for a HELO. A HELO is a home equity line of credit. Frank's house is worth somewhere in excess of $400,000, so the bank said, yeah, we'll lend you $300,000. And we'll lend you that amount because if we have to foreclose on you, we know we got a quick sale to cover what you owe us. And so Frank had, when he called me at 5:20 on Friday night, $300,000 at his disposal, and it was his plan, or is his plan, to put it all on Tesla on Monday morning. Okay? So, Frank asked me the question, and I'll ask you the question. Would you do it? Would you put $300,000 and your house as collateral on Tesla Monday morning? Well, I want you to go down into the description right now and answer one of 2 ways. Yes, Frank, go for it. I think it's a good bet. I think you're going to do swell. Or, no, Frank, don't do it. Don't do this thing. Okay, so you've done that. Now I'd like to go to the charts and see if we can evaluate what Frank is looking at and what possibly could happen with Tesla, and see if we can't figure out what the risk and return on such a play would be. Okay, let's go to the charts. Here's what Frank's looking at. We go back to our March chart, and we start and we see that Tesla's had a channel that it's traded in, and it hits its highs or gets close to them, and then it retreats. And then it hit a low here on August the 11th, August the 10th, and then it just took a rocket shot all the way up to about $500 a share on September the 1st. And then, as we have seen in the last 11 days, the bottom just fell out of it. And it has come down and actually went through the trading channel, the low side of the trading channel. Looks like it got down to about 330. And then it's made a slight climb up, got back into the trading channel, and it closed at 372.72 on Friday. So Frank is saying, where's this going to go? Is it going to drop down below again? Or is it going to climb right back up and surpass its past high? And probably Frank is believing that it will go up above $500 a share within the next month, month and a half. I guess it really doesn't matter. So let's look at the finances of this, and the risk and reward and lay it against what Frank has to gain and what Frank has to lose. So Frank's question to me was, Carrie, should I or shouldn't I do it? My answer immediately was to Frank, I can't answer your question. You see, Frank, although I was a financial advisor and I was commissioned to give people advice in the states where I'm licensed, I can't answer that question for you. If I did, and if it turned sour for you, and if you recorded this phone call, you could go to the Securities and Exchange Commission and send me to jail. So, Frank, I can't answer your question. But let me ask you this. Do you have any other questions you'd like to ask? And we moved back and forth on that until Frank got the drift. And he said, Carrie, would you do it? Would you put $300,000 of your money on Tesla Monday morning? I said, well, Frank, I run my life based on risk and reward. So let's look at the risk of doing such a thing and the potential reward. And let's look at the numbers. So with $300,000 at $372 a share, I'd be able to buy 800 shares of Tesla on Monday morning at $372. If what I think or what you possibly think is going to happen is in 30 days it'll be back up to $512, I'll make $140 a share, and I'll net profit of $112,900. Now, I'll have to pay the $1,000 interest on my $300,000 loan, figuring at 4%. So I'll net somewhere around $112,000. Okay? What does that mean as a reward? Will the $112,000 change my life? Well, I could buy a new Porsche. Yeah, I could buy even a hopped up Porsche because I could trade the one I got in and I could get a new one. I could remodel my house, which it needs to be done, and probably pay for that 2-week trip that Nita and I are planning to go to Ireland next year after the pandemic's over. And it would certainly pay for the 2-week trip that we're going in November to the beach like we have for the last 30-odd years over Thanksgiving. So there is some reward there. Okay? So then what's the risk? The risk is that Tesla moves lower. And it stays lower, and it trades sideways for the rest of the year, and I lose money because it went lower, and I pay $1,000 a month in interest. Okay, but, yeah, Carrie, but it'll go up after the pandemic is over and all that. Yeah, it might, but it might not. If Tesla crashes, on the other hand, and I have to bail, and I lose $100,000, and I've been in it for 6 months, and I owe the bank $6,000 of interest, and I got to raise $100,000 to get out of that loan. Oh, well, that's not too good of a scenario. I think the other thing, Frank, that is most important, I would be putting my home in jeopardy for a stock trade that I have no control over the situation. And more important than any of those things is the suffering, the pain, the anguish I would put myself in, and eventually I'd have to tell Nita, and the pain and suffering she would go through, and the disgust she would have for me putting our house in jeopardy over some damn stock trade. I couldn't live with myself with that. I just couldn't live with myself. So what are these situations I said that I don't have control over? I don't have control over the growing market fear that has penetrated the NASDAQ market over the last 2 weeks. I don't have any control over that. I don't have control over traders moving away from the stocks that I believe so strongly in, the Big Six and Tesla. I have no control over that. I have no control over what's going to happen in the presidential election, and that is going to have a big play on what happens over the next 3 months in this stock market. I have no control over the relationships with China and how that's going, because I'm seeing we don't want you in our country collecting data. Well, we don't want you in our country collecting data. Well, we don't want you in our country. It's becoming a pandemic of its own, and I have no control over it. Will there be a vaccine, or won't there be a vaccine by the end of the year, or the next 6 months? I have no control over that, and that's going to affect my trades. It's going to affect the stock market. Will there be another relief package? That's going to have an effect on Tesla's stock and my 300,000 and the putting my house in jeopardy. So I don't have control over that. The list goes on. And added to that list, if I did this trade, Frank, what if something happened to me? What if this trade sat there while they were burying me, or while I was in the hospital being treated for the COVID virus, and Nita didn't know a damn thing about it? Because if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to tell her about it, because she'll shit if she believes that I'm putting our house in jeopardy for a stock trade. So there's just too many things I don't have control over that would say to me, Frank, my answer to you, Frank, of your question, would I do this trade? No, I would not. Are there some circumstances under which I would be willing to do something similar to what you're suggesting, Frank? Yeah. In fact, I'm doing it. I have a HELO loan against my house so that I can build those houses I've been telling you about for baby boomers who are downsizing, who can't wait for me to get the sticks in the air and a roof over it and a kitchen put in that wazzles and dazzles them so they can come and buy it, and I walk away with $40,000 worth of profit. I'm building 2 of them. I'm doing it with a HELO loan, just like you're talking about. But I'm in control of the situation. I know the demographics. I know the situation that my city is in. I've received the phone calls. I've been in the real estate market for 3 years, and I know it. And so I have control. The presidential election will have nothing to do with it. Our relations with China will have nothing to do with it. Market fears will have nothing to do with it. These are baby boomers who are selling their more expensive homes, downsizing, and coming to my property. I have something they want. So I'll be willing to put my house up as collateral to work that side gig that I really don't have a whole lot to do with other than going and looking at it and getting excited about it. So I would do that. But I'm in control. I'm in total control. So, Frank, members of the tribe, don't do it. Do not put your home in jeopardy. The risk and reward doesn't weigh out. And come back to that same question. Will it make a difference in my life? I was watching the TV the other day, and Publishers Clearinghouse, I believe it was, and Terry Bradshaw was the spokesman for it, and they were riding around in a car, and they said, and we're going to show up, and we're going to give you $1,000 a month for the rest of your life. Would $1,000 a month make a difference in my life? Not really. Not really. I think what I would do is I'd give it to whatever one of my grandchildren are in college at the time and say, okay, here, it'll take some of the financial pressure off of you. But if there was a risk attached to that $1,000 a month, would I do it? If it involved putting my house up as collateral for Publishers Clearinghouse, no, I wouldn't do it. The odds of me winning, first of all, are 50 million to 1. So I implore you, when you get these thoughts in your head, do a study and measure risk against reward and make an informed decision. And ask yourself, is this going to make a difference in my life? Either way, if I win or if I lose. So, to answer the question in the thumbnail, I'm not going to be betting $300,000 on Tesla on Monday morning. And I suggest you don't either. So, if you'd like to see more videos like this, go to bestofusinvestors.com, sign up for our morning letter. And as a result of the morning letter, and that morning letter, every day the market is open, I write a letter about what I believe is going to happen in the stock market. And there will be your ticket, your link to our Discord, where you can join our tribe, enter the village, and share information with, right now, probably, I think we're up to about 4,000 people in there who are exchanging ideas and talking about things like this.